Why hello YouTube! Greetings from the LazyEyebrowReviewer. Yes, I am back. I most certainly am back. And with what do I make an official triumphant return with? Well, I'm pretty sure you've read this already. It's MP22 City Commander Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus first appeared in Season 3 of Transformers. And given my intense distaste for all the figures from that year, you'd think I'd be all over this guy to take a hike. And yet, he's in my top 5 favorite Transformer figures somehow. And then, it kinda hit me. I don't love Transformers themselves as much as I really love Articulation and nearly everything that came out of it. And the G1 cartoon I love because it gave these characters voices and iconic personalities and so forth. That little spiel aside, let's talk MP22. MP22 is a faithful recreation of both the cartoon and the Diaclone toy he came from. Design-wise of alt mode, definitely Diaclone inspired. Even something like these angled 5-sided polygon things on the back of the trailer, something that was a method of keeping the trailer arms up in trailer mode in the original G1 toy, were given the nice reference in the design. Now, watch me ruin this figure. Watch. You see the front towers? And happy face. You may now never unsee that. You're welcome. From a design standpoint, I love the look of this truck and trailer combo. It is epic. Colors though. Oh, we be thanking the cartoon for these bright and vibrant colors. I love the blue especially. It pops so hard. Let's talk functionality. Despite this being a solid one-pieced figure, we have a trailer hitch pivot. Amazing. It was something lacking on the Fans Project Motormaster, and it's something I am all about here. It doesn't go all that far, no. But the fact that it has it, and that it isn't like only 5 degrees left or right, it is super impressive to me. The missiles up top have a spot to plug in here, and they look great. But if you want the G1 toy look, they can swing around and hang out here. And I do mean hang out, because there's nowhere to solidly lock these into position. It's not in my taste to do this, but hey, it exists. Now, probably the greatest functionality of all. The rear trailer doors swing down, and the arms unpegged from the back supports and rotate down to give car carrier functionality. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, mainly because there's such a huge gap between the trailer and the upper level, but you can still muddle around with the animation and make it look like it works. Although sometimes it can be a bit weird looking in the case of this prowl loading up here. But let that be a segue to 4 cars. Yes, 4 Autobot masterpiece cars can be held on this behemoth, for he truly is a car carrier. It is not just a name. I love this so much. I mean, I tend to be a huge fan of massive transportation, be it planes, trains, and automobiles. This, though, just hits all the right notes for me. But the fact that I can hold 4 of these MP cars? Aw man, it just put MP10's trailer to shame, as we see that only Red Alert can fit in here. Now here's a question. Why does every collection of Masterpiece figures I see exclude Red Alert? He was a character, he ran alongside Inferno, and yet even in Inferno reviews, for the plethora of figures of him that there are, he's rarely ever shown with Red Alert for size comparison. I find that a tad bit weird. Anyway, let's do size comparison. He holds 4 Autobot cars, and here he is next to Red Alert, really messing up my exposure settings. But, if you've seen an MP Prime review, you pretty much know how this scales. And speaking of the red, gray, and blue guy himself, Prime! And this just really goes to show how much time and effort was putting into making these 2 trucks look identical, giving that nod to the G1 toy that this used to be Prime inside of a trailer. Like, so much detail was put in that the mold actually has cast indentations where, if this were an MP10 figure, you could see where all the scene lines were where the figure would transform. That's how much detail was put into the cab. I love it so much for that. It's subtle enough that the seams don't jump out at you, but noticeable enough that, hey, this is the MP10 Prime cab, and in the G1 toy, these used to be identical. Otherwise, that's how their trailers stack up. MP22's is a bit taller and bigger overall. Another really cool thing I love about this figure is that the trailer can detach. So let's do that to get a better look at Prime and the cab of MP22. And just look at that. These two look so dang good together, and yet naked without the trailers in my eyes. Although MP22 more so, since all he is now is a driving chest and head. So, main differences. White instead of red, red instead of blue, red instead of chrome? Why? Cartoon accurate! You said you loved the colors. Can't have one without the other. But the red looks so weird. In this one singular instance, I think I would have rather they gave toy priority. Oh well, red will do. For now. But I can't promise that I'm not busting out my silver paint when this is all over. Red bumper. Sheesh. Anyway, Another massive difference, the rear of the truck. Where MP10 has to have this huge truck chassis to accommodate the big blocky legs of robot mode, MP22 doesn't. In fact, its chassis is infinitely superior in the sense that it's actually proportionate to the truck and doesn't stick 12 feet scale-wise off the ground. I love this so much more. As for the underside, it's a little hollow and features some sneaky peeky spying from Magnus here. But unless you're performing maintenance while in a pit, when the heck are you ever looking at the undercarriage of a truck, you weirdo? So in short, I love this trailer tractor combo. It's big and hefty, commands respect on the road, and just all around blows my mind clean out of the water. So, accessories then. MP22, since he came from season 3 and 4 character-wise, comes with a grown-up Spike, and a little Daniel. Additions that I gladly accept into the line. I would have compared them to an MP10 Spike, but while attempting and then failing to film MPB, I seem to have lost my MP10 Spike. Superhero offered me MP12 Spike, but it just wasn't the same, you know? I'm thinking my cat stole it and hid it somewhere. I hope I find it, because I'm not spending $40 on a piece of plastic just to have a short skit of Spike and Daniel showing up in the DeLorean to meet younger Spike. So how about scale? If you've been here for about a year, you know I'm a stickler for it. And do these little figurines scale well? Well, no. I still don't think they do. Unless you see full-grown men handling transport truck tires that are consistently up to their nipples in rubber, I don't think these are in scale at all. They shouldn't be this small. More like, they should be this big. That's closer to the appropriate scale. Still not perfect, but closer. Same with the MP cars. Honestly should be more about here as opposed to here. And for all those going, oh, blah, 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 scale-wise and junk doesn't happen in Transformers, yeah, it didn't seem to mind when Human Alliance was a thing. And even then, some of those were a little small on the cars. Anyway, these figures do end up fitting inside MP22. Although in my opinion, not quite as elegantly as MP10 did it. You have to take the roof off and rotate that, and to make it easier, the front of the truck as well. And then they pop in there. And there they are. Father and son, driving all the way across the country, off on a road trip. Just the two of them. Oh, yeah, I guess 3 of them. Anyway, these two look really good in here. Although I think they're a bit too close together, as in I would have liked the spot they sat on to be more centered with the windows. But this does look good too. Kinda like what Prime did. These do fit in Prime, by the way. I think they look better seated in there, to be perfectly honest, but this being the case, now that we have 2 of them, and Prime, it means we get more playability with the MP10 trailer too. Daniel, are you doing your homework?
Yes, Dad.
Are you?
I said yes!
Ha! I've been monitoring your work from up in this tower. You've been playing video games. That's it. Come here. We'll see what your mother has to say about this.
Come on, Dad. Put me down.
So that was truck mode. There's so much to it. I just really love it. But this is only half of what this guy offers. Let's go transformation. Unpeg the side skirts and move them aside. Unpeg the upper level from the back of the trailer. Separate the second level down the middle. And then rotate the front towers along the second level down. Remove the gun from the middle. On the bottom, pull up the apparatus that contains the trailer tires. Rotate them around and plug them back in. Fold in the trailer side skirts, and rotate the rear of the truck around, and peg the side skirts into the back of the legs. On the cab, fold in the rear truck tires, line up the truck, and snap in the wheels to solidly lock the truck into place. Spin around the smokestack, open up the top of the truck, and then swing around the front to the bottom of the truck. Rotate the front of the trailer piece around at a camera shot and snap it into what becomes the waist. Pull up the sides of the cab and spin them around and re-plug them into the front wheels. Rotate the back of the cab down to make a chest. Rotate the rest of the truck down to the back, and then fold what's left down to form the back. The sides of the truck should find themselves a nice little nest into the trailer. Fold up the back flap, slide the head forward, and rotate the head around. On the arms, fold in the panel that made the middle of the arms look nice, and filled out a nice cuboid. Spin around these plates to the sides of the arms, and point the missiles back. While keeping the arms pointed down, rotate the shoulders up. Fold up and over the top flap, split, and then swing around the blue chunk that made up the forearms, rotate the back towers until they click, swing around the arms and the white hinges, and BAM! Ultra Magnus! Oh man, is this ever a beefy chunk and a half. Just look at this guy! Just so much chunk can be found from head to toe. He's a blocky robot that looks like a full-on building that'll come and flatten you should you ever make him cross. Just, oh my goodness, this is insane! And good grief, can he ever strike a pose? Ooh. Let's talk about that butt flap, though. It's something that nearly everybody has had an issue on, and you know what I think? I don't care. No, really, it just folds up. Big whoop! How many of you actually animate with these toys you buy? Well, considering where you are, I would guess a fair amount, but still! Those that just display them on a shelf, I'm pretty much 99% positive you're just looking for something to complain about. After the initial 6 hours of playing with this thing, a ton of people just pop it on a shelf to look pretty for eternity. And unless you have some weird thing going on where your shelf looks like this, who really stinking cares what the back looks like? And well, since it just folds up, it gives figures like Optimus a desk to work on. So, dual functionality, you know? Speaking of functionality, if you have MP10, and why wouldn't you by now if you own Ultra Magnus, you know that MP10 had a matrix chamber that opened up. However, if you take that from him, and then on Magnus open up the center, and then the doors, he too gets a matrix. This only works with the MP10 matrix. So that die-cast thing from the Battle in Space 2-pack, the MP09 matrix, and the MP01 matrix won't work here. It's exclusively the MP10 matrix. I think it's cool that you get this compatibility with another figure. I also think it's neat that you have to have Prime to get this to work. It's like, there's only one matrix. Treat it with care. Others may disagree and wish that it also comes with a matrix for Ultra Magnus, but whatever, I like what they did. That aside, check out this sculpted detail. That is amazing! And you know what else is amazing? How about these faux wheels? Normally I hate parts like this, but not in this case. There's a reason. In the animation model, those tires were ridiculously small, so it's a nice nod. I also like them there because it's not like the tires are elsewhere, and those are there because the transformation would allow the real tires to be there. They can still totally go there for all your roller skating needs. And most importantly, because the tires are situated there and they are stopped by the internal mechanisms, this also allows for rubber gripped feet so this thing isn't sliding left, right, and center all over your table. I really do love how this became a method to stabilize the big beefy monster that this is, and looks smashing doing it. The legs look right big and chunky, although a tad bit bland. I mean, where's my red shins? Where did those go, and why is it just plain white here? I guess I need me some Toy Hack stickers. Or some paint. We'll see. Otherwise, it and the torso looks great. Totally accurate to the G1 cartoon it looks like it just jumped out of. Things are beefy, excellently proportioned, nice and blocky with chunk just about everywhere. Heck, some parts are even die-cast. Oh, this thing is just the bomb to look at from pretty much every angle. The missiles even look good, and the missile itself separates. These things aren't spring-loaded, and I say good. This is a masterpiece, not some $20 deluxe figure you bought from Toys R Us. Do you know how much of a pain spring-loaded missiles are to animate? This just makes my life a billion times better to film. Thank you, Takara, for not adding a spring here. There really was no need to do so in the first place. How about another feature? Well, the face comes off to reveal some homage to the G1 Prime aesthetic. Sort of. It sort of looks like that's what they were going for, but the way things have to fit in there kind of mangles it off a bit. It's completely unnecessary though. Nifty if nothing else. Anyway, take the real face off the front of the helmet, and then put in the additional face it comes with. It's a screaming face. Based off that one episode that was actually a movie where he got blown to bits instead of the original idea of being pulled apart to death. Drawn and quartered, if you will. But I find if you stare at it too long, it just looks like he's shocked about something. Like just flat out appalled over what you did. Welcome back to Cooking with Prime. Last time we made Grandma Prime's secret energon cake recipe, and also had the show shut down for a while. Well, now some time has passed. Spike here has grown up and had his own child, so now we're going to try and make Daniel's souffle. And that's disgusting! Alright, time to check them gas prices. $4 a gallon! Time to see what all the fuss about Howard the Duck is. Ducks aren't supposed to have those! All in all, I think it's pretty cool that we get a mask, essentially to go from one expression to another. Like, he goes from screaming to... stoic! Another thing he gets are replaceable fists. These are rubbery and slotted. These install by way of popping off the usual hands from the ball joint and replacing them with rubbery goodness. And then look! He can hold the Matrix high above his head. And that's the only place he can hold it. I mean, props to Takara for including a feature like this. They always seem to be good at making some iconic scene from one episode or one scene in the movie be replicated. But this is literally the only pose he can hold the Matrix in. A ton of clearance issues, as well as the way the gummy hands are shaped, means that this is the only pose he can pull off. Well, that and beating people over the head with the matrix of leadership. And finally, a gun. It is a gun. It goes pew pew! Well, not really, but I'm sure it would if you made the sound of pew pew! All around, he is a solid figure. Just plain amazing. And I'm super happy to own him. On to Articulation. And here's where things get a little bit of a letdown. Head is on a standard MP neck joint for rotation and up and down. Shoulder clicks up 1 click, and that is it. They can click 1 down, but junk gets in the way and I don't recommend it. See, the thing about this is I wish something better could have been done with the shoulders. Like an up and down joint inside the arm like MP Prime did, except it be in the arm and not attached to the blue trailer bit. That'd be silly. But regardless, this means that all he gets is the 1 click. The end. And for extra clearance for those extra poses, he gets the white swing hinge. I seriously cringe at this thing. It's a rather small bit of plastic, and it's white too. White. White tends to be one of the more brittle plastics in my experience. Basically, I'm afraid this is going to shear off one day if I keep playing around with it, and well, then my MP Magnus would definitely be hooped. It even bends a little when I try and pose it. Anyway, 360-degree rotation, missiles can orient themselves however you see fit, bicep swivel, 70-degree elbow bend, ball jointed hand-for-hand tilts, and spinny action. Thumb is cast in place like Prime, the finger opens, and it's not jointed at all. It looks like it is, but it's not. So he gets a trigger finger basically, with no pointing ability, whereas Prime got a trigger and pointer. I mean, that's just useless. Why even give that to us at all? You can't do any expressions with it, so it's kinda useless if you ask me. It may as well have been welded to the other 3 fingers. The other 3 fingers open, by the way. Hips on an amazing ratchet joints that aren't a struggle to move, but also hold the weight of the hefty die-cast feet. Super tight friction joints, but not super ultra tight. You can move them fairly easily, though there is some plastic noise, but the pose holds like no tomorrow. Thigh rotation, but no knee rotation, with literally no discernible reason why not. I mean, there's already a scene where the knee rotation should go, but nah, we'd be skipping that. And a fairly decent knee bend. I mean, check this out. This guy's a hefty sucker, and yet all the joints are holding, while the feet firmly plant this guy in the ground for some epic posing. And where would we be without that ankle tilt? It's impressive that they were able to engineer that in. It doesn't go too far, no, but I'm still impressed it exists. I mean, these are some hefty clompers. Perfect for when Magnus gets fed up with Sideswipe and gives him the boot, or Frenzy needing kicked back all the way to the Decepticon base. And yes, I did say Frenzy. For size comparison, MP10, Apollyon, MP13, MP20, MP12, MP18, and half of MP15. So, final thoughts. I think this is a fantastic figure to look at. He doesn't do too well in the posing department. He can pull off a few great poses, and what you can get him into, he'll respect you enough to carry out your orders. He's a fantastic looking figure with the right heft, chunk, weight, and oh man, do I love that transformation. The accessories it comes with, everything about it. In short, he's a fantastic display piece. He doesn't offer too much in terms of posability and animation options, but is he ever a sight to behold? This has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer.